Welcome to the Texas Metal Show. I'm your host, John fucking Winningham, and on this episode, we talk to Kaliya. All right, here it is, guys. I'm tired. Got a new job. I think I may have mentioned that last episode or probably on Facebook, and I've been working just a fuck ton of hours, but that's good for all of us. Southern Brutality t-shirts are back in stock. If you'd like to purchase one, TexasMetalShow.com. Click the store button. I'm pretty sure you've bought something online before. I don't remember when we actually recorded this, sometime a little earlier this year when we took our first trip to Dallas, but this is a great episode. I really enjoyed talking to Uncle Jesse and Ben. We talked a little bit about Uncle Jesse's influence through Joey Jordison, and it was really nice to talk about Slipknot without people just like, wow, fucking Slipknot sucks, blah, 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 which is the general mentality of assholes everywhere. I also got a bit of an education on Grindcore, which Grindcore is not really super my thing. I like a handful of Grindcore bands, but as far as the roots and where it comes from, not really sure, very unaware, probably need to educate myself a little bit more. And that's it. Enjoy the show. Thanks for listening. I appreciate all your support. You guys are fucking great. Just broke 7,000 total downloads. Fucking thank you so much for paying attention to what we're doing. Hopefully it has allowed you to help support some badass local music. Here's the fucking interview. Sitting in the, is it Kaliya? Am I saying that right? Kaliya.
Close enough.
Yeah. Practice space with Jesse, drummer.
Yep.
And Ben,
guitar. Yeah.
So we're gonna start the show off the same way we start every show off. If you guys ever get bored of that, you can feel free to email me and tell me. Let's talk about a brief history of the band. How long have you guys been around?
That's for this old guy over here.
Yeah. So. You know, the name Kaliya has been around since 2005, and I kind of feel like there's almost like two versions of the band, if you will. So from 2005 until about 2011, 2012, we kind of had one lineup and one sound, and then we had like a pretty significant lineup change at that point. So with the self-titled full length that came out in 2015, we kind of went in the direction that we are currently, which is more of like death metal, like grindcore type sound. That's kind of around the time that Jesse came into the band. Thomas, our other guitar player, and our current vocalist were in there a little bit before Jesse was, maybe a year or two. But really, this current kind of version of Kaliya probably started like 2014, 2015. But the name itself has been around since 2005. So correct me if I'm wrong. You guys have a release in 2011 called Annihilator. Yep.
And then you have your self-titled 2015 release, which is where I was introduced, which is excellent. Yep. I really enjoy that album a lot. And then you have a 2016 EP.
Yep.
What's Annihilator like? I never listened to it. When I went to your Bandcamp page, the first thing that came up was the 2015 self-titled. I didn't even think to click the other button to see if there was more music. Yeah,
so the Annihilator album is really kind of like the old Kaliya, right? So it's you know, the production on that album, I feel like we kind of screwed up, for lack of a better term. Just it's kind of overproduced, a little bit more technical, a little bit more like I don't know if you say like metalcore, but it's just a little different. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't know.
When we start talking core, I get confused because it's largely a genre that I just don't know much about.
Yeah, it's it's fast and it's heavy the way that we still are, but it's just got a different feel to it. Songwriting's different, so anyway, it's just different lineup, different vocals. So anyway, different feel to it that is not really that closely related to what we're doing now, I guess.
Right, it's 4 years before the release of the self-title. What was the reasoning behind lineup changes? Clearly, it sounds like there's a big sound change. In between these two albums.
Yeah, so I'm really like the one guy that has been in this band since 2005, I guess, and I have my own, tastes, I guess, and like what I like. And my influence was present in the old sound, but with this newer lineup, we're all kind of on the same page in terms of like liking similar stuff like I like. So, when Thomas, our other guitar player, came in and the drummer before Jesse was in the band, we kind of decided like, hey, death grind is like what we want to do, right? So it's like old Entombed, like the Swedish death metal sound, like grindcore like Napalm Death, Nasum. We're like, hey, we want to pull from those bands and like kind of take it more in that sound. So like the songwriting process was different, and we were a little bit more focused on like what we were trying to do than before, I guess. So it's just, kind of a number of things took us in a different direction. And, for my taste or what I is a lot more related to like my personal taste, I guess.
What is your personal taste? What are you listening to on a regular basis when you're not writing your own music?
Yeah, so I'll answer this. I'm going to kick it over to Uncle Jesse here, and he can throw his in as well.
Great.
But so coincidentally, we just tracked like a covers EP, right? So like the bands that we tracked on there, Nasum, Skit System, Entombed, Napalm Death, and then a Queens of the Stone Age song, which is just kind of for grins. But
did you do the Queen of the Stone Age song more how the song originally sounds, or did you guys like flip it around and change it up?
We kept like the same rhythm just because it makes sense, because that we did If You Think I Ain't Worth a Dollar or whatever. So it's like that song is already heavy.
Yeah.
So why even change the structure, because it's just about that like halftime. So we kept it like the same, just changed a few things, but
the groove is a strength on that song. We just and like some of the songs that we have on our albums are like real like just groove rocking songs or whatever. So or even like some of the like if you listen to Entombed Wolverine Blues, that's their whole sound is like death and roll. So we'll put like heavy vocals on that song. The vocals and the guitar tone are gonna make it sound heavier. So I think when it comes out, it's gonna sound like a death and roll song. So
yeah.
What was the inspiration to do a cover EP? Just something you guys wanted to do?
I think we were fucking drunk in the van one day, and we were talking about like we should do some covers or some shit, and we were like, we'll do this song and this song and this song, and yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, it's just like I guess when you got a band, you want to be like putting something out just to keep people interested on a regular basis. And we put out that EP not too long ago, and playing covers live it's just a fun thing to do. Like, hey, we love these songs.
I love when you go see a show, whether it be local or national, and they're like, hey, we're gonna throw this out here. This is a cover song. You may not hear it very often, but this is what we love.
Yeah, that's the shit. That's awesome.
It's one of my favorites. One of my favorite things.
Yeah, the purists, the purists or the elitists might think it's like cheap or whatever, but you know what? It's fun. Why not? So
those men.
We're not making any money anyway.
We all know those heavy metal elitists, and I in the past as a younger man, I've kind of been that way, and as I've gotten older, I've tried to move away from that, because why build yourself a box of what quote unquote real metal is, and then completely ignore all these other amazing bands who are pushing the envelope and doing something different? What a fucking shitty ass way to live.
Absolutely.
You know what? If you go to a show and your favorite band does a cover song and you don't like it, fuck off. Like why? Go to hell.
Amen.
I can't imagine why anyone would be upset about that.
Right.
So cussing is okay. We can cuss.
Yeah, fuck, shit, cunt, bitch. Cool. You can say whatever you want. Cool. There's a big explicit sign on our thing, so if you're offended, you clearly didn't see the warning.
Yeah, I just assumed that it was all right.
Yeah,
my bad.
Well,
no,
we did a radio interview a month or two ago, he's like, no cussing. So I was kind of like filtering.
That's why, first of all, radio sucks because
Right.
the fucking FCC or whoever controls the shit. This, we can say whatever we want.
Okay, great. All right.
Like, I was posting a bunch of Guar lyrics about dead kids on Facebook the other day, and people got upset. And I was like, this is just a fucking Guar song. Like, what's wrong with you?
Speak freely. Got it.
Killer.
Fuck, what were we talking about? We got kind of... That happens sometime. If we were drinking, it would be even worse.
We got high on
I wish I had a beer right now. That would be awesome.
I was gonna stop. I was hoping there would be a store and we could grab a 6-pack, and I was like, this is like a warehouse district because the tradition is Lone Star.
You want water?
We get fucking if you got water in there, fuck yeah. Yeah, the tradition is Lone Star because it's cheap and it'll get you drunk.
Yeah, hell yeah.
But we're gonna break that tradition today. But you guys, I think, are the first grind. Do you guys consider yourself grindcore? Is that an appropriate labeling or what?
I think typically the way we categorize ourselves is like death grinds.
Death grind.
Yeah, so we're like, we got some songs that don't even have blast beats in them, and
I noticed that.
Yeah, you got to have blast to be grindcore. So we're kind of somewhere in the middle there. So I think we kind of pull influences from a few different places. So I think if you're a grindcore band, like every song's got to be like over 220. You know what I mean? Like
basically, yeah.
So, but before we continue on with influences, because it is something I want to talk about, and I specifically would like to discuss grindcore more as a whole because it's something that I'm relatively new to and I don't know a lot about it. But I want to talk more about you guys real quick before we get into that. So we've got the 2011 release Annihilator, which I never listened to. Then we have the self-titled 2015 full length, which is excellent. If you're listening to this, go to Bandcamp and buy it. If you're not on Bandcamp, you're fucking stupid. I don't know what you're doing with your life. And then you have a 2016 EP. And if I recall correctly, if I remember reading Facebook right, that there's kind of a little bit of a change of sound between the 2015 release and the 2016 release, correct? Or am I maybe thinking of somebody else?
I don't know if it's like that much of a jump.
It's a very small. It's a very small shift.
Yeah.
It's not like when The Sword put out their last record and it's completely different from anything else they had done before.
No, I think it's because that the EP that we put out, that's the first thing that I played drums on, and like the self-titled was the other drummer, Jono. So maybe that's why it sounds like a lot different, just because.
So Uncle Jesse, you brought a little bit of a different.
Yeah, I guess a different feel.
Yeah.
That was the first one for Jesse to play on, so he definitely has his flavor to it. And then maybe like the other thing that makes it sound different to me is we had a different guy mix and master it, so the mix on it sounds a little different. But
heavy.
Yeah, songwriting is pretty much the same. So very compared to Annihilator, very similar to the 2015.
What's that guy's name that mixed it?
So the guy that mixed it is William.
Fuck everyone.
Yeah,
he plays drums in Gadget, which is like a grindcore band. And if you guys haven't heard of Gadget, y'all are fucking up because
where are they from?
They're from
Sweden.
They're from Sweden. Yeah, they are sick.
Yeah,
I'll have to check that out.
Go listen to Gadget.
They're on Relapse Records.
Yeah,
but.
So there's a small if you listen to the 2015 and you listen to the 2016, there is a little like the vocals are a little different. I mean, they're still growl, like they're still real harsh, but they don't seem to be quite as like real deep and throaty as the 2015 release.
Yeah.
Is there a same vocalist?
Yeah.
Same vocalist. It's probably just differences in the mix, I think.
Yeah.
I can imagine that the mix is a real. I don't know what it's like to mix a record, so I can imagine
it's an art.
Yeah, depending on who it is, you could have just completely different sound.
Yeah.
We had a local doom band, Stonework. They had paid someone to mix an album or an EP, and they got it back, and they were like, "What the fuck is this? Like, all these guitars are mixed shitty." So I guess if the person you have mixing and mastering doesn't do a very good job, your music is just totally completely fucked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we talk about grindcore, because I'm interested in learning, let's play the first song. We'll jump it up a little bit earlier than normal. This one's called "Sins of the Father, Passed to the Son" from the 2015 self-titled release.
I don't even know what to say to you. I don't even know where to begin. I feel so sorry for you.
Fuck you.
that's my favorite thing about grindcore. That
initial 4 count.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure why that exists because I'm not a musician. But even Cryptic Void, when we saw them live, this probably won't be in the interview, but when we saw them live, and I was like, oh, this is fucking awesome.
There's something about that. There's something about that snare count.
I don't think that's how that song starts, but just in my head.
Yeah.
I love watching a drummer just. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it. I've watched so many drummer Floyd Montier, is that his name from
Cryptopsy?
Flo Montier.
Flo. It's fucking French. I don't know how to say French things. I've watched videos of him grinding on drums, and it's like, what the fuck? I don't even know how you guys pull that shit off.
Yeah, he's sick.
Okay, so the song's over. Let's talk about Sins of the Father, Passed to the Son. What's this song about? What does this song mean to you guys?
Ooh, good question. So Tyler, our vocalist, wrote the lyrics for this one, and to be honest, I couldn't even tell you what it's about.
Well, fuck you, Tyler, for not being here.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Oh, it's cool.
I wrote
that song is about fucking headbanging.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
That's what that fucking song is seriously about, dude.
Yeah.
Is head fucking banging.
I wrote the music, but he wrote the lyrics, and that's the headbang song,
dude,
man. I don't know.
Beat somebody's ass to that song.
I have a problem with headbanging. I have 5 or 6 beers, and then I can't stop, and then 3 or 4 days later, I'm like, God damn it. I don't know. I hear a lot of people, I'm too old to go in the pit. I'm too old to headbang. I'm 31, so I'm not that old, but I can't see myself not getting drunk at a down show and then spending the whole time in the pit, which is what I do. I mean, local shows, I don't know what you guys are like in Dallas, but in Houston, you don't go to a local show and there's a pit. Either because there's, first of all, not enough people show up, because heaven forbid you spend $5 to support bands on a Friday night, and then, or it just never happens. There was 1 or 2. We went to a show at Walters. I don't remember who we were seeing. They had a circle pit going on, and I was a little impressed. Was it the Obsessed show? No, I don't think you mosh to the Obsessed.
Every show that we've played in Houston has been fucking gnarly.
Yeah? Where do you guys regularly play?
Well, we played with Oath of Cruelty at was that Sound Exchange, and there was definitely some fucking pits and beers being thrown.
Insolvent. Are you guys familiar with Insolvent? They're a female lead death metal band from Houston. When we saw them, there was a bit of a pit going. Maybe I'm just going to the wrong shows. Maybe I'm just not going to the right fucking shows.
Probably because Houston's always fucking lit.
Yeah.
Especially when it's not even us. It's just the show is always fucking badass. We always play with killer bands.
Well, a lot of the national touring acts we go see, we get a lot of action. But as far as maybe, we listen to...
We moshed a Blind Guardian.
Which is weird. We go to a lot, the last few local shows we've been going to have been a lot of stoner and doom shit. So you can really headbang to that stuff. But as far as really getting into moshing and thrashing around, it doesn't happen a whole hell of a lot. And you have those, as Phil would put it, King Dick in the crowd, and I always fucking hate those dudes. I'm talking big guys walking in a circle, throwing their fucking elbows and kicking, fuck you, man.
Yeah.
But maybe I just don't like getting elbowed in the face. It happens every fucking time. So maybe I'm just a pussy.
There's some people that take that
seriously.
Yeah,
crowd kill.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's fun. I don't really like that shit either, but I have a lot of friends that do that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, I think it's kind of funny.
Well, I look at it this way, when I'm in a pit, when I go to a show, I'm a drinker. I love to drink beer and listen to metal. I will, Friday nights, if I'm just at the house, I'll put on records, we'll play cards, and I'll just get drunk and fucking hang out and listen to music. So when I go to a show, I really want to get into it. And if you hit me in the face, I'm not going to be like, fuck you, man. It just, you're going to get hit in the face. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to slam your head into the concrete.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever been to the Warehouse Live in Houston?
No, I haven't.
It's just this giant concrete box, and when you fall down, it fucking hurts because it's just, and it sounds like, fuck, Warehouse Live, I fucking hate you. I hope you're listening to this. I hate that venue. It's just something about I think the floors kind of slope, and for some reason everybody else grows 5 feet taller when I go, and I can never see anything. I'm 6 foot. I'm not a short dude. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. I apologize. I want to talk about grindcore, because grindcore is not something I know a hell of a lot about. I like King Parrot. I like some fucking Napalm Death. What's the distinction, if any, between grindcore and then death grind?
I'll just get this out of the way really quick. I'm not necessarily super into grindcore. I just like blasting And I mean, I know what grindcore is, and it's become my life. But at the same time, you know, I listened to Napalm like in high school and stuff, so like I know what it all stems from. But as far as like differentiating between like all different types of grind or whatever, not really my expertise.
Yeah,
like, Bone Crusher can probably shed some light on that.
It can be difficult.
Yeah, you know, I think
Is that what they call you?
yeah, it's my nickname. Is
Bone Crusher.
Bone Crusher.
Oh, that's a good nickname.
Don't ask why.
You know, who was it? Us that was talking about that earlier in here. We were sitting here talking about it maybe before these guys got here. Anyway, you know, so if you talk to like grindcore purists, they say it's extreme punk.
Oh yeah.
Like they don't associate it with metal. It's just like extreme.
I've
punk.
run into that.
You know, it's kind of like what you were saying earlier. Where, you know, Napalm Death comes out and Barney says like this isn't music, it's noise.
Yeah.
So to me, that's like a kind of the easiest way to put it. But you know, it's almost like punk played with the extremity of like death metal, right? So like with grindcore, you don't really have guitar solos, you don't have like melodies or harmonies or
this is one of my favorite things about it.
yeah, it's just like the most stripped down version of like extreme music.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
well, metal in general, over the years, I mean, if let's say metal started in the early 70s to an extent, I mean, we could get into a long conversation about the history of how heavy metal came to be, but you have these staples of this one particular style of music that has multiple different types and like melodies and harmonies and guitar solos. I mean, that's it, you know?
Right.
And so you kind of it's nice to get a break away from those kinds of things. I think that might be, besides the extreme brutality behind the music, I mean, that might be one of the driving forces where people latched onto it and went, oh my God, this is something different. This is something new. We haven't really heard people do that kind of shit before.
On the other side of it too, though, it's kind of a rebellion because like I don't know if you've read American Hardcore, but you know, the hardcore punk movement that came out in like, you know, the late 70s with Black Flag and like stemmed to like the mid 80s. You know, that was like a direct rebellion against like not only just like regular punk rock, which is like real fashionable or whatever, but it was, you know, against like certain types of song structures, and that's where the 30-second song comes from. So that was like a direct derivative like that grindcore took.
Right.
So,
See, when it comes to punk music and it comes to like the history of that kind of stuff, like as punk as I've ever gotten in my life is the Misfits and the Dead Kennedys, and I don't even know if you could. I mean, I maybe like that first Guar album, and maybe the second one, but I didn't have a lot of punk influence in my life for whatever reason. For some reason, growing up, we clung to metal, and I think it was like the Christian upbringing that did it to us. Like it was that, like it was a direct rebellion to like mom and dad because this is, you know, we're not listening to Christian music or choir music.
I mean, that's where shit, dude. When I was in high school or whatever, I mean, I was listening to like new metal and all that shit or whatever. So only really.
What kind of new metal?
Oh, you know, I mean, like
shout out to Joey Jordison.
Yeah,
Slipknot.
like when I graduated in '99, so it's like that was like when the Slipknot self-titled came out. So it's like Slipknot and like Korn, all
Slipknot
that shit.
heyday. I remember all of that. I was listening to like Blind Guardian and stuff. See, I skipped over all that stuff. All of my friends were way into like Limp Bizkit and Korn and Slipknot, and at that point in my life, I was like, "Fuck Slipknot!" Like I listen to real metal. There's that shitty elitist attitude that I've tried really hard to get away from because now, as an older person, I can listen to Slipknot and go, "Oh, I totally understand why everyone was listening to this shit."
Yeah,
like I was just being a judgmental fucking asshole the whole time.
Yeah, that there's like I feel like there's a certain awakening that you have as you get older or whatever that you start to realize like being a dick about stuff doesn't really accomplish anything.
Well, you would hope would hope that everybody would kind of embrace that mentality.
I think in 2015 we played a Halloween show and we dressed up as Slipknot.
Yeah,
it was awesome. And it was really hard though, dude, playing with those masks and the jumpsuit and shit.
The first Slipknot album that I ever actually got into, I think, is the one Slipknot album that most Slipknot fans don't like the most. I think it's called Subliminal Verses, and it's like the fourth.
Volume 3, baby.
Volume 3, yeah. Volume 3. And for whatever reason, when that album came out, I got a copy from a friend, and I don't remember why. I was probably about 18 at the time, and I listened to it, and I was like, oh, shit, this is really good. But I had never listened to, like... Iowa. That's the only
Yeah.
other Slipknot album I can name because I'm just not into it.
I was really obsessed with Joey Jordison, the drummer, for a long time.
He's pretty fucking good. He's still around, isn't he?
Nah, he's still around. He plays in other bands, whatever. But he got fired from Slipknot.
Well, from what I understand, he doesn't even know why. If metal sucks and Blabbermouth can be trusted as information on heavy metal, he was like, I don't know why they fired me. They just fired me.
Yeah.
Well, you said I miss you. I thought maybe he had died, and I didn't know.
No, I mean, but he's my dog though. Yeah, that light keeps flickering. Sorry.
I don't know. It's the metal gods. They're just letting us know we're doing a good job.
Bit when he's on his kit, he's strapped in, and
and the 5-point harness. Yeah, and it's been. I saw that done when I was like 14, and I was like, oh my god. Dude.
So was he? How old are you?
I'm 27.
Okay, so was he like an influence on you to start playing drums?
Dude,
completely?
not to start playing drums.
Okay.
Yeah, but when I first started playing drums, my dad's a drummer, so I kind of had like an already like gateway to like do that or whatever. And I was playing like ZZ Top songs and stuff like that. But like Joey Jordison, like when I got into him from Slipknot or whatever, it was just like the first time I heard like double kick or whatever, and I was like, dude, yeah, just hooked or whatever. So.
Well, there's something about double bass drumming or that just. Yeah. I love it. I don't know why. There's something about it that always gets me going every time. So I fucking hate when I say that. It's one of those interview things that I actively always try not to do, but then I end up fucking doing it anyway. Let's talk more about Kaliya, because that's why we're fucking here, because we could talk about... I love talking about influences, first of all, and it's really interesting to sit here and talk to guys who make this particularly brutal style of music and then go, when I was 14, 15, I listened to Slipknot, because... for me at least, and maybe this is just my own experience in my own life, there has always been a really big division between quote unquote real metal fans and then that movement of metal, Korn, Slipknot, that kind of stuff. Like I love System of a Down. System of a Down is fucking amazing. They're one of my favorite bands, except for when they let that other guy sing a lot. Those last two albums are a little rough.
the guitarist.
Yeah, I can't think of his name. He's got that really high-pitched, squeaky voice. And
talking about Shovel?
Yeah, I kind of just fucking...
His name's Shovel, right?
I don't know.
Pretty sure his name's Shovel.
I know the band, but I don't know his name.
So it's kind of cool to sit here and talk to you guys and listen to this great music you make and then find out that your influences are... at least in the past would be something where I would just be like, ooh, like if we met and we were the same age and you were listening to Slipknot and I was wearing like a Cradle of Filth shirt, I would have been like, fuck you. Because I was a dick.
Yeah.
Because I was a fucking asshole. Are you guys currently writing any new material for a new full length?
Yes.
No.
Kind of. Yeah, so we so we put out that EP I don't know, 6 months ago or so. We're doing these covers just to like throw something out there, but
it's all about in a world where you can't make money playing music, which is for the most part the general consensus of local bands I've talked to.
Yeah,
you can make maybe a little bit of money, but certainly it's difficult to squeak a living. And even with running a podcast, it's all about generating content.
Right.
The more content you put out, the better chances you have of maybe becoming.
So you make fans, you know what I mean? Yeah, so this covers thing that we're doing is really just content, but anyway, I got a bunch of ideas that I'm working on, but we haven't really started like jamming stuff, but that's really, I don't know, we may take some time off from playing shows or just to focus on writing, but we're getting there, I guess. But I guess in terms of like the creative process, I guess at this point it's just kind of like me like sitting down writing riffs, and like I'll kind of throw like tentative drum track ideas on there or whatever, and then Jesse gets a hold of them, kind of like does his thing with them, and then we'll get in the room, just kind of like structure ideas together, and like what if it went like this, what if it went like that. So I don't know if you have anything.
Yeah, that's how it happens, for sure.
Right. I mean,
that's exactly.
I'm not a musician. I play guitar very. Play guitar. I'm just learning.
Yeah.
I haven't practiced in about a week, and I hate myself for not doing it. But, sometimes life gets in the way, and I can make up all the excuses in the world to my guitar teacher why I didn't fucking practice Black Sabbath Paranoid and why I can't play it great. But I don't know what it's like to sit down with a group of guys and, like, write an album, write a song. So it's always really interesting to me to hear about how people go about doing that, because it's just something I don't understand.
I guess one thing that So, this is really, I've only been in a couple bands like in my years of playing music, but like I think every band does it a little differently,
Right.
And then even if somebody does it similar, even if bands do it in a similar way, it's just unique for every situation, right? And for me as like a songwriter, sometimes you got it and sometimes you don't. It's just all about being inspired and just kind of like catching the wave when you have it, I guess. So.
Sorry, I apologize.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I imagine like most anything, whether it be art, which obviously music is a form of art, writing music, drawing, painting, what have you, there's got to be points of inspiration where this inspiration hits you and you're like, okay, I've got to stop what I'm doing and go sit down and write this, or tomorrow I'm going to completely fucking forget about it, and then that song's lost forever.
Yeah. Something, I guess it kind of works both ways because for me, sometimes you kind of have to force yourself, like, all right, I'm going to sit down and just like fuck around for an hour every night, whether I feel like it or not. Because sometimes even if you don't feel like, something will come out that you're like, well, that's pretty cool. You go back and revisit it later and it's something. But I don't know. There's times like for us or whatever, we went on this little tour run. I guess it was December when we all got sick or whatever.
Yes.
Was it like flu sick or like food poisoning sick?
It's the sickest I've ever been in my whole fucking life.
On tour or like
on tour?
Oh God! And you still obviously have like gigs to perform, right?
Yeah. I can't believe I played drums like that. Like a fever so fucking high that like you're like shaking, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like just like your whole body's just cramped up. Like it was fucked up.
That December,
I don't wish that on
January,
anybody.
there was a weird strain of flu that was really. She got really sick, and it was fucking brutal. Skipped me. I don't know. I had the swine flu years ago, so maybe
got some immunities.
Yeah, maybe, hopefully that would be cool. I got married once. Terrible idea. And the week before our wedding, we both got swine flu, and it was just the worst fucking thing on the planet.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible.
Yeah.
So we got to move into the second song break here. This one is called Blank Stare from the 2016 EP, which you can also get on Bandcamp.
Expectation.
for the headbangers.
Yeah. I went a little crazy last night, and some photographer, I can't think of it, quartz grinder, something like that. He took a bunch of. I'm excited to see the photos because I turned and I was like, oh shit. He was like right next to me. It's kind of interesting. I don't used to people taking my picture. We do radio, so we don't, people don't want to see this.
Get that camera out of my face.
Yeah, motherfucker. He was really cool. He told me all about being a photographer. So all right, Blank Stare. Can we talk about that one? Do we know?
What it's about?
Yeah, what it's about, what it represents, what it means to you.
Well, so this is another one where Tyler wrote the majority of the lyrics on this one, but I kind of had a little bit of influence in helping him with it, and I think he was just kind of like talking about people that you try and explain things to them or whatever, and they just have this blank stare, like they just have no fucking idea what's going on in their life or in life in general, I guess. And anyway, so in terms of lyrics or what the song means, again, I don't have a whole lot of direction on that, but from a musical perspective, I would say this is more of the Swedish death metal type influence that we have. So to me, if you listen to this song, this could be an Asphyx song or a Dismember song or an Entomb song or something where you've got the skank beat and tremolo picking and
I love tremolo picking.
Yeah, just kind of moshed out kind of breakdown in there or whatever. So
the working title for that song was Hail of Mosh.
Yeah. So there's
Yes.
there's a band called Hail of Bullets who's real traditional
Yes.
Swedish death metal sound and stuff or whatever, and then there's this real mosh heavy breakdown in the middle, so it's Hail of Mosh.
It'll always be Hail of Mosh to me.
Why did it change? What was the?
Well, it's just you have to name the file something.
Yeah, you can.
You can't just save it.
Yeah, you can't have a song on the album called the Mosh Song.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Oh, we can't take this seriously.
It's there's working titles that are Nasm Song or Napalm Death Song. You can't really have that as a final song title, I guess. So
I don't know. Do you guys listen to, let's just use the term metal, pretty regularly in your everyday lives?
Me actually no, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
When I was in high school, I was I guess you would say a metalhead or whatever. And then I went through a point where if there was a band that didn't sound like Necrophages, I wouldn't even fuck with them. You know what I mean?
There's that box.
Yeah,
That
I
box we
wouldn't
talked about
even
earlier.
fuck with them. But you get over that kind of quick. But I don't really listen to metal too much regularly unless it's to show someone something or whatever. I'm usually just listening to fucking Dillinger Escape Plan, dude. It's my favorite band ever.
My brother was big into them, but I couldn't.
Shout out to Greg.
Couldn't even fucking name an album. What else do you listen to? I mean,
Lately, I've been listening to a lot of Melt Banana, which is grindcore style drums.
Melt Banana?
Melt Banana, yeah. They're from Japan. It's they're a two-piece right now.
They're probably really good because Japan does this thing where they just put out excellent. Most of the Japanese bands I've listened to are just really talented.
They're really talented. They're so great. They rule.
Yeah, I've got a 6-year-old, so we listen to a lot of baby metal, and I get made fun of mercilessly for liking their first album. There's that metal elitism. If you don't like J-pop, that shit sucks. And I don't really like J-pop, but I got a 6-year-old. So as a dad who is a metalhead, who has satanic shit all over his house, there's some music I just won't listen to.
Yeah.
First of all, because it's somewhat inappropriate for a 6-year-old, and he doesn't fucking like it. It's the saddest thing in your life as a father when you put on fucking Satan's Fall by Merciful Fate or Into the Covenant, and your son's like, "Hey, Dad, can you turn this off?" And you're like you just cry.
Well, when he gets older,
yeah,
they'll probably be down for it.
His mama listens to a lot of pop music, which is pretty normal, which is your standard fare. I mean, it's pretty normal for people to like pop music. But so even for me recently, I've been listening to that new Faith No More record endlessly. I don't know if you guys are into Faith No More.
I love Faith No More, man.
Have you listened to Soul Invictus?
Yes.
God, it took me a little while to really get into it, but now I've been singing Sunny Side Up. I'll wake up in the morning and I'm singing Sunny Side Up and wanting to put the record on all the fucking time.
Patton will never disappoint, I don't think.
God, no. He is if I don't make music, but if I did, he would be probably, him and Phil would be my two most prominent vocal influences. Mike Patton is fucking amazing.
Mike Patton is probably the most versatile vocalist on the planet.
Yeah.
I would say.
I think in some form or fashion that Mike Patton might possibly be a reincarnation of Frank Zappa in a way, even though he was born before Frank Zappa died. But maybe I'm just stretching.
But still,
with that, well, his are you Ben? Are you Bone Crusher? Do you like Faith No More at all?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not really super familiar with their stuff that much, to be honest.
I'm gonna send you some records.
Yeah,
I need to get your email address. Send you some records.
Like many people have tried to convert me, but
it's not gonna happen, dude.
Yeah. Okay, so he's listened to it, he's just not into it. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Sometimes you don't like good music. I mean, it's just fucking how that works.
Sometimes you're a fucking idiot.
What an asshole. Yeah. This podcast guy's a dick. Yeah. Nah, see, Faith No More was like in my younger years was one of those first bands that really blew me away. So for me, it's just it's just one of those things.
I mean, you can't help but respect them. What
about like Mr. Bungle or like Tomahawk or Phantomus or what's that shit? Was this Phantomus he was doing with Lombardo from fucking?
That's it. It sounds right. Yeah.
He did that Irony is Dead scene with DEP, baby.
No, sir, I don't like it.
What about his all vocal albums? Have you ever listened to those? They're really hard to fucking listen to.
No.
Or
I'm actually not. I'm not even into Mr. Bungle, honestly.
Yeah. So. That Mr. Bungle, Faith No More, when you're like 13, 14 years old and you're listening to like Girls of Porn or like Pink Cigarette, it kind of, because that was about my age when I started listening to stuff. Because my older brother somehow or another got into these bands, and I don't know if you guys have older siblings, but for me, like my oldest brother was like huge influence on why I listen to heavy metal and some of the music that I listen to. Because if you don't have an older brother, where do you
get it from?
Yeah, where do you learn about bands and that kind of stuff? Well, of course, it's a bit easier. When I was 14, we had the internet, but the internet it wasn't really like it is today. There was no Bandcamp. I was part of the Blind Guardian forum, and I would go look at the non-Blind Guardian section, and people would talk about bands. That's how I found out about Burzum, Nile, Cradle of Filth, and that kind of stuff. Sick. And I hated that shit. Like when I was like 13, 14, I was like, what the fuck is this? They're like, screaming and all the fucking drumming. I was like, this is garbage.
At certain points in your life, you got to hit like that. You'll hit a stage where you'll start listening to like a certain. You'll start to crave something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So but yeah, I don't really listen to too much metal these days. I mean, I'll always listen to thrash and like crossover and stuff, which I guess you could say is metal. But Bone Crusher's been turning me on to like a bunch of stuff that I haven't heard. So
crossover is something that I've really wanted to get into because I don't know a whole lot about it, but I've heard a lot about it and I've read a lot about it.
I have a crossover band, and that's like probably the genre that's my favorite fucking genre.
You guys have recorded music?
Yeah.
Oh, I need to get a hold of that then. Play it on our fucking show. What about you, Bone Crusher? What are you listening to when you're just on your own, driving in the car, going to work, banging your old lady?
I guess a bunch of shit that sounds like Kaliya, maybe.
Coffins.
Yeah, like if you wanted to say like certain bands, it kind of varies a lot. But recently,
Morbid Vomit.
Recently,
that's a good name.
Yeah,
I think that name is terrible, but that band fucking rules.
Recently, I've been listening to a lot of Nasum, Nile. Just kind of randomly.
What's your favorite Nile record?
Annihilation of the Wicked.
Man, I don't know if I could pick one. But maybe what's the one that has Sarcophagus on it?
Off the top of my head, I'm not sure.
Shrines.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm pretty sure that's it.
We could look it up real quick. Let's pull out our phones.
I'm almost positive that's what it is. If I had to pick a Nile album, I might say that's the one that like got me into Nile. But they're all. I feel like you could take any one of them.
Yeah, Black Seeds of Vengeance was the one that got me into Nile, and I just largely dismissed it the first time I heard it. Somebody had recommended, was it Incantation?
Yeah.
What's Incantation's first album called?
I have no idea.
Onward to Golgotha, or am I thinking of a completely different band? Which very well I might be. Anyway, so first time I listened to Black Seeds of Vengeance, I had no idea what death metal was. I just started getting into the more hated melodic black metal, Dimmu Borgir, Cradle of Filth, which if you utter those two band names in the presence of second wave black metal fags, which I used to be, you will get totally, completely dismissed as a human being.
Wow, dude, fuck that, because anything Nick Barker's played on...
Yeah.
Dude, that is another one of my dogs because he fucking rules, dude. Those 2 demo albums that he played on are fucking sick.
Which ones are those?
Death Cult, Armageddon.
Which
and,
my first? That was my first.
Yeah, and Puritanical, whatever.
That was my second.
Yeah,
I think my favorite is probably Enthroned Darkness Triumphant, which was
I like that shit, that overproduced.
Oh, yeah.
I like when the drums sound fucking massive. I like that shit.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there's man,
symphonic or whatever. I like all
the symphonic
Batman
black
theme music
metal
shit. Yeah, I love that stuff. I think
there's
tight.
We could probably go on for hours about production because I think production is one of the most interesting things when it comes to music because like we talked about earlier before we were recording, like there's good shitty production and then there's bad shitty production, but then there's shitty overproduction and then good overproduction. Like I'm a huge Blind Guardian fan. Blind Guardian, I don't know if you guys are familiar, the German power metal. To me, they're like the best German power. Like they're like the pinnacle of what I think power metal should be in my own personal opinion. And that's because I'm a nerd. Gamma Ray comes close to Blind Guardian, but not close enough. To me, Blind Guardian are the best power metal band. I'm a fanboy. They have an album about Tolkien. I read a lot of Tolkien when I was 12 or 13. Didn't have a lot of friends, you know. So like for me, I really fucking embrace that kind of shit. I digress. But their new album is like massively overproduced, and I love it. But I'm listening to it on the headphones, and I'm like, fuck, does it need to be this overproduced?
Yeah.
You know, I will say the only thing that I wouldn't like about an overproduced album is if a motherfucker can't land it live.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Which
if it doesn't sound anywhere close to that live,
they
then,
do very well
then
live.
it's still good on the recording, but then, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
You know what I'm
I never really thought about it that way before. So look, we're going to have to wrap up because Uncle Jesse, I know you're going to have to jet here real soon, right?
Yeah, killer.
So anything else you guys want to talk about with Kaliya? Anything you want to bring up? Anything you want to share? Any feelings you might be having right now?
Shout out to my roommate Oliver and his 3 greyhounds.
I would just say thanks for doing the show, man. Like,
hey, no problem.
Yeah, appreciate it.
People do this just because they love doing it or whatever. So like, anyway, like guys like you really like tie the scene together. So like, super appreciative. So
I'm going to tell the story. I'll tell a quick version of the story of why the Texas Metal Show exists. It's a story I've told before, and I try to refrain, but you guys don't know it unless you've listened. Have you listened to the show before? If you say no, I won't be offended.
No,
that's cool. You got an iPhone.
Honest.
If you go on your iTunes or your podcast app, just type in Texas Metal Show. It's all for free. And I don't know what kind of phone you've got, but it's on Google Play, iTunes, all over the place. Lemmy died, right? I'm imagined you guys remember when that happened?
Absolutely.
Lemmy died?
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah,
every metalhead or
tattoo.
everybody knows. So, not a big Motorhead fan. Just because I didn't have that influence, nobody ever gave me a Motorhead album to listen to. I can listen to Motorhead and enjoy it, but it's not like I grew up listening to Motorhead. But I understand the impact that Motorhead and Lemmy himself had on the music that I love. So Elizabeth and I had just started dating, and we're out to dinner with my ex-wife and my son, because my ex-wife and I have a really close relationship. We raise our son together. We have a very close-knit family unit, and you start dating somebody else, they have to intermingle. Super fucking awkward dinner, guys.
Wait, so you're at dinner with
my ex-wife and my girlfriend, Elizabeth, who's our editor. Well, because my ex-wife and I spent a lot of time together with our son, and if you're not okay with that, we can't date, because I'm not going to abandon my family for somebody else. Anyway, Lemmy dies. We're out to dinner, and I'm on the phone, and I'm like, oh, fuck. And I'm just bummed. I don't normally get bummed when celebrities die, but I'm like, holy shit, man, this is a fucking bummer.
Yeah, it's an icon, or like more than a celebrity.
So we go home, get a bottle of Jack Daniels. I put on some Motorhead. Then I put on Amon Amarth did a 4-song EP when Deceiver of the Gods came out, which isn't the newest album, but it's the album before that, and they do Black Sabbath style song, Judas Priest style song, AC/DC style song, and a Motorhead style song. And I get trashed. I drink like half a bottle of Jack Daniels in like 2 hours, and I'm like blackout drunk, throwing up, crying, fucking terrible. I don't get that way. Basically, it was bad.
Yeah.
And I woke up the next day and I had to call him to work because I was so fucking hungover. I couldn't function, and I was like, man, fucking Lemmy lived his life every day the way he wanted to do. He was a fucking rock star and lived to be 71 and drank and smoked, and like, it's time to do something I love. So
cool. That
And
was your
trigger.
moment.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to do the
Yeah.
Texas Metal Show. I can
Yeah.
do a podcast. And I know at that point in time, I had been maybe like 2 years into the scene, going to a lot of local shows just because it's so cool. There's so many of bands like you, maybe not the same style, but local bands that you can go see for cheap. And why aren't people doing it, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm not a musician. Even though I play guitar a little bit, I can't imagine I'll ever be in a band. But I'm a fan, and I wanted to give back in a better way. So the Texas Metal Show is my way of giving back to you as local musicians for enriching my life with the music that you play, because that's how I feel about it. I can't imagine what it would be like to live life and not be into heavy metal, for me specifically, because I'm a big, gigantic metalhead. So thanks, fellas. Thanks for the
thank
excellent
you,
music.
man.
Is there anything we may need to cover real quick before we go? Do you guys feel good?
I'm good.
Bone Crusher is the pit master.
Yeah?
If you see
Yeah.
Bone Crusher at a show, don't fuck with him.
Yeah, I'm watched about once every 5 years, but when I do,
You go
fuck
hard.
it
You
up,
go
dog,
hard.
dude.
fuck it up.
Well, thank you guys very much for being
Yeah.
on the show.
Yeah, for
Thank you
sure,
guys
man.
for making great music. It was great
Oh,
talking
thanks,
to
man.
you. All right, that's it. TexasMetalShow.com. Check your show notes. Go to Bandcamp. Buy some Kaliya shit. They're fucking awesome. Awesome people. Awesome band. Go see them live. Here's a bunch of pre-recorded nonsense for a bunch of awesome things that are happening in Houston sometime this year. Independent Music Festival 2 is here. On October 21st in Old Town Spring, you're going to be able to see Dead Meadow, Elder, Mothership, Greenbeard, Switchblade Jesus, Funeral Horse, Warlung, Jody Seabody and the Whirls, and so many more. But this year, they've added a second date. October 22nd at Walters Downtown in Houston, you're going to be able to check out The Well, Doomstress, Amplified Heat, Crip Trip, White Dog, Stone Machine Electric, and fucking so many other great bands. Make sure you check it out. Check your show notes. Click the link. Buy some fucking tickets. Come say hi to Texas Metal Show, because you know we're going to fucking be there. This is going to be one of the best festivals that comes to Houston this year. You're not going to want to miss out. Tobin, Dar, Entip Entertainment, you guys kicked some serious ass. Let me tell you a little bit about Brash Brewing. Not only do they make some of the best craft beer in Texas, they are the only heavy metal brewery that I'm aware of. They're big supporters of the local scene. They're big supporters of the Texas Metal Show. They have badass food trucks at their location, and they have a giant selection of awesome arcade games. Check them out at 508 West Cross Timbers Road, Houston, Texas.